Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Gabi Hoffman, and I am the Assistant Director for Student Experience and Engagement at the International Students and Programs Office here at UC San Diego. ISPO is sort of the acronym we use to describe ourselves. We're one of 4 units within global education here at UC San Diego, which includes the International Faculty and Scholars Office, the Study Abroad Office, and our Office of the Dean of Global Education. Today, we're going to be discussing topics surrounding the pre-arrival information for exchange students. So this is specifically for our winter exchange students who will be coming in January. This will hopefully be a helpful resource for you to navigate the ins and outs of coming to UCSD. This webinar will be recorded, so all of the different information we go over, the links that I go over, that will all be saved to this presentation, the recording, and we'll notify you once that recording is available. So this morning, I am joined by my colleagues here who are all here to assist you. We're very lucky to have my colleague Grace Fuller, our Manager of Student Experience and Engagement here at ISPO, Kyle Argonza, International Students and Programs Office Intake Advisor, Relitza Kirova, she's from the UC EAP System-Wide Office and can help answer any questions that might come up that pertain to that office in particular when it is related to any sort of pre-arrival questions there. And Argeria Williams, again, with the International Students and Programs here, Programs Office. She's another international student advisor, and she's worked closely with our EAP students before. So we're all very excited to welcome you. As you can see, we have a team ready and waiting to support you, welcome you, and coming to UC San Diego. So before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping rules. Just so you know, you are in listen-only mode, so you can hear us, hopefully, but we cannot hear you. We do encourage you to ask questions. There is a Q&A feature to submit questions to us throughout the presentation. If you think of questions after the presentation, that's okay. We welcome you to contact us at icontact.ucsd.edu and we can assist. And again, we are recording this session. So usually it takes about a week or so, but that recording will be available at iwebinars.ucsd.edu. So you can see in your control panel, there is a Q&A function, as I mentioned. If questions come up as we're going through the presentation, my colleagues will be monitoring the Q&A box to address those questions. We'll typically leave them toward the end so we can answer them as a group and hopefully address common questions that come up from amongst our students here. All right, so our agenda for today, we are going to be going over a brief overview of the International Students and Programs Office here at UCSD, or ISPO, and who we are, how we're here to serve you. We're going to go over steps to applying for your DS 2019 if you have not done so already. We will cover enrollment that is coming up this week, housing questions, how to get involved, orientation, and then, as I mentioned, we will leave time at the end for questions and answers. So ISPO at UC San Diego is your one-stop shop for all services and programs for international students. ISPO provides immigration advising as well as non-immigration advising topics to help you understand how to navigate your program and succeed at UC San Diego. We're really excited to welcome you. We would like for you to come and visit us now that our offices are reopening. We are here every weekday, of course, virtually before you get here. You're welcome to contact us as well. We have about 20 or so friendly faces ready here at UC San Diego to welcome you. Aside from advising and in issuing immigration documents, some of whom you've received those hopefully already, or at least applied for them, we also offer events and workshops to support the successful transition of students to campus and student life, as well as to enrich the academic, research, and intercultural experiences of all students at UC San Diego. So while we're your one-stop shop for advising and going over your regulations to help you manage your studies here, we're much more than that. We provide different programs, ways to get involved on campus, really helping our students get a foothold with transitioning to campus as well. So ISPO is here, as I mentioned, along with the entire campus community to offer you a heartfelt welcome to campus. With UC San Diego having returned to primarily in-person instruction this past fall, we're eager to welcome you in person this winter and make you feel part of the Triton community from the very beginning. We like to think of ISPO as your home away from home, a place where you can meet others from around the world, learn from one another, explore your interests, and above all, feel comfortable and welcome here. ISPO plans to extend the very same warm welcome that we have for years for so many of our students, as you can see here. These are some of our orientation programs we've done in the past for our students. But now we're going to go ahead and go over some of your first steps, the checklist here to help you get started on your journey to UC San Diego. And some of these pages will look familiar, but we'll review them together. First off, I'd like to refer you to our useful website for newly admitted international students like yourselves. So this page, specifically referring to exchange students, this is where you can find important information about how to request your immigration documents and prepare for arrival. It's very likely that if you have questions about how to request your documents, you will be able to find the answers here on our website. And the website is inewstudent.ucsd.edu. We also have a new feature on our website where you can use Ask a Triton, and you may be able to get immediate answers to your questions as well. But information to this page, inewstudent.ucsd.edu, and again, specific information on exchange students, if you click on that box there, will take you to your checklist of where to get started. A lot of these steps were outlined in the email that was sent to you last week, a couple of emails sent to you. If you didn't receive them, please reach out to us to let us know to make sure we can reach you. But otherwise, this is a great way to get started. All right, and Grace has helpfully put that link in the chat as well for you. So after you retrieved your student ID or your PID using the instructions that were sent to you by our office last week, hopefully again you all received those instructions, you can begin your DS 2019 request. The DS 2019, which I'll go over in a moment, allows you to apply for your J1 visa in your home country. So once you have your PID, and your login credentials, this will allow you access to the iPortal, which is iportal.ucsd.edu. And this is the system that you'll use to request and receive your immigration documents. Now, once you get your DS 2019, this is where you're going to start the process of booking your visa appointment and getting that underway so that you can arrive in January for the start of your studies. So let's go over how to obtain your J1 visa for your studies here at UC San Diego. So as an international exchange student, you must have your SEVIS Form DS 2019, as mentioned, to apply for your J1 visa. Again, this is requested via the iPortal. And once you have the login information to request this, you should be able to get into the iPortal. You will be asked a series of questions and to upload financial documentation so that we can issue you your DS 2019. All EAP students will receive a Form DS 2019 with a January 3rd, 2022 start date. Note that the processing time for a DS 2019 document is 15 business days, so we encourage you to apply now. The deadline for our J1 students was last Friday. However, we are still accepting applications. We will still process this. We just encourage you to do it as quickly as possible so that you can in turn book your visa appointment as soon as possible. We know there are still delays at some embassies, some consulates due to the pandemic, so we want to make sure you have this as soon as possible. So again, once you receive your DS 2019, this is how you can go ahead and book your visa appointment. And this is what a Form DS 2019 looks like. I know this is very small, but hopefully maybe some of you already have the documents in hand or have had participated in a J1 program before and know what this looks like. But note that when you are applying for your visa, you will take this physical document with you. It cannot be an electronic copy, unfortunately. It does have to be a hard copy. So when you go into the iPortal and you are going through the different questions, it will ask you for your mailing preference so that you can receive this hard copy. Students are responsible for the shipping costs associated with sending your DS 2019 document to you. So just make sure that you note that. We do have some students ask sometimes, can you send me my SEVIS ID earlier? So, they'll say, visa appointments are booking up quickly. I need to get this document soon. Once you process it, can you send me your, my SEVIS ID? Yes, we can do that for you. If you request to have your SEVIS ID sent to you, you can either put that in the notes of your iPortal application and we'll make note of it, or you can email us at inewstudents.ucsd.edu and we can send that number over to you in order to book your appointment. But once you go to your appointment in person, you will need to have this document with you. All right. So now we're going to review the visa appointment and visa fees process because this can be a little bit confusing. There are so many different applications you're applying for, different fees that you have to be aware of. So once you have your DS 2019 or SEVIS ID, you can go ahead and complete what is called the DS 160 online non-immigrant visa application form. So again, you'll need your SEVIS ID. This is the number that starts with the N located at the top of your document. J1 students will need to provide UCSD's J1 program number as well, and that number is P102849. Now, I do want to say this information is actually pulled from our website, the inewstudent.ucsd.edu website that Grace linked to just a moment ago. So you can review this and learn exactly how to apply and what numbers and information you need to input to book that visa appointment if you haven't already. On the form on the DS 160, when you are asked for UC San Diego's contact information, you may put down the following information. We get this question commonly. So the contact name, it can be the name of the advisor that's listed on your DS 2019 document. You'll see that in the center of your document. You could put down the following phone number, and the contact email can just be istudents@ucsd.edu. So again, all this information is on our inewstudent.ucsd.edu page. After, again, receiving your DS 2019, completing your DS 160 form, which gives the information to go to your visa appointment, you also must pay your SEVIS fee to activate your document. This is a fee that's paid every time you receive a new SEVIS ID number. You should all only ever have one SEVIS ID number, hopefully, for this program. So you should only have to pay it once, but be aware of this number. It's also called the I-901 fee. This is different than the visa application fee. So there are two fees that are involved here. One as a processing fee to go to your visa appointment. The other one, again, is this one, the SEVIS ID, or I-901. These are the ways you can pay. You can pay online, through Western Union, or by mail. Please ensure that you keep the receipt, which is known as a Form I-797, in a safe place. There can be errors in the system sometimes. It might not record that you've paid. So if you have paid, you want to keep this as proof of that payment. And you can review the FMJ fee page on how to pay for this fee. I really want to stress the importance of paying this fee because it sometimes catches students by surprise. If you don't pay this fee, we are unable, when you come to UC San Diego, we're unable to register or confirm your arrival here at UCSD, and that can lead to status issues. So it needs to be paid, it needs to show up in the system before we can register your record. So just be mindful of this piece. All right, so that's the visa application process. Hopefully it's familiar for you, but we will definitely leave time for questions at the end so we can go over that. But now I want to touch on enrollment a little bit because I know this is definitely, you are all eagerly awaiting this. I know it's a very important part of your exchange program, obviously. All of you are further along in your degree, and it's important that you, can make progress and are able to get into the classes that you would like to get into, but also, take classes that are enriching to your exchange experience. So Enrollment in classes at UC San Diego has two parts to it called First Pass and Second Pass, and I'll go over that here. So enrollment in classes actually begins this week. The First Pass, what it is called First Pass, is November 10th until November 12th. So you can see that time frame up until 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Second Pass is November 17th through November 19th. So first, make sure you view your specific appointment times in Triton Link. It should have been already set last week, November 3rd. You do have to have your PID, your personal identification number, retrieved in order to enroll, because you need that to log in to Triton Link. Pass times are individual, so you may be assigned a time that is different from other reciprocity students. Not everybody's is necessarily the same, just be aware of that. Again, all times are Pacific Standard Time, so make note of that. There are academic resources to help as well, and I know the UC EAP system-wide office sent an email last week to all of you with really good comprehensive information about the enrollment process at UC San Diego, what to expect, how to get into classes that might have prerequisites, which I'll go over in a moment. They will also, you might not necessarily get into your first choice automatically, right? There are no guarantees to get into certain classes. So we want to make sure our students are aware of that and to have backup options, different options available when you're registering for classes. But do make sure that you make note of your enrollment time so you don't miss that window of opportunity. During the first pass of enrollment, you can enroll up to 11.5 units. So 12 units is what's considered full-time for international students, which I've noted here, but you can enroll up to an 11.5 that first pass. You can't do more than that. But during the second pass, starting November 17th, you can enroll up to 19.5 units if you wish. Most students at UC San Diego, because it's a quarter-based system, it moves very, very fast, these 10 weeks every quarter. Most students take about 16 units per quarter. That's a normal course load or a full-time course load. International students must enroll in at least 12, but you can take more than that. Okay, we just want to make sure that you're not overloading yourselves while you are kind of adjusting to life here and the academic environment at UC San Diego. I do want to draw your attention to the enrollment and registration calendar, which is linked on this slide. I think Grace is including in the chat. It includes various different deadlines, including your last day to add classes. So the last day to add classes is the end of the second week of the quarter in which you're coming. So for all of you, that would be in January. You do have time to adjust your classes until then, add classes if you wish, drop courses, or change your grading option. So students can change from a letter grade to pass, no pass, etc. So again, review the information that was sent to you by UC EAP system-wide office that explains all of this in great detail. It's a really helpful guide to have alongside while you're enrolling in classes. So a little bit about prerequisites at UC San Diego. Some courses have prerequisites or restrictions to get into them. They will ask for proof that you have met those requirements, that you've taken the coursework to get into that class. Usually it's an upper division class. And there is a way to show that you do have those requirements met, but you do have to go through a process. So for instance, if you're looking through the course catalog and you come across a biology course that requires completion of the course Build 1, okay, which is an example of a prerequisite. Or maybe it requires what's called upper division standing, which is an example of a course restriction, right? So sometimes it requires that you are at least what is considered junior or senior standing. We know our EAP students are advanced along in their degrees. We know that you are not first-year students, but the way that you are come into the system in the university as exchange students, it doesn't automatically allow you into those upper division classes, right? So you'll need to ask sometimes for proof that you've already completed certain coursework to get into the class you want to, or that you can work at the level of an upper class person, a junior or a senior. So you can actually go through this process by going through what is called the EASY, the Enrollment Authorization System process. It is a step-by-step process is outlined here, as well as in the UC EAP enrollment guide, which tells you what you'll need to do. So you can go through, it's in WebReg, it is within Triton Link when you go to enroll for classes. If you see a class that you want to get into, but it's restricting you from doing so, you will need to submit a pre-authorization request in EASY. The link will be there. Once you submit the information, they might be asking you for a previous course syllabi, for example, maybe coursework that you did in your home country. Once you submit that information, the department in which you want to take the class will review that request. Sometimes the instructor will review it if needed. And if they say that yes, you've met the requirements, they feel satisfied with that, they will approve it, and you can go ahead and enroll in the class. Sometimes there might be what is called a revision status. So maybe they need more information, transcripts, test scores, for example. They'll let you know so you can submit that and they can review. Or they might deny it. They might feel that you don't have the course grounding yet to get into that class. Or might be restricted only to a very small number of upperclassmen at UC San Diego. So just be aware of this process. If you have any questions about the enrollment process, if you're having difficulty using EASY, please get in touch with our office. We can guide you, assist you in who to contact. Sometimes it means getting in contact with the department directly to explain your situation a little bit more, explain the classes you've taken before and how you might meet those requirements. But do expect to go through this process first. Feel free, though, to reach out if you have any concerns or if you're having difficulty. Okay, so moving on from enrollment, another important piece in preparing to come to UC San Diego is immunizations. As many of you may have heard, the entire University of California system has a vaccine mandate for the COVID-19 vaccine as well as the influenza vaccine. And I'm going to go over some of the dates here where students are expected to provide proof of those vaccinations, those immunizations, so that you can begin your studies here on time. So for 2021-2022 academic year, all incoming students must complete UC-wide immunization and tuberculosis screening requirements. This is all done electronically via My Student Chart. So again, this includes the flu vaccine and the COVID-19 vaccine screening. The TB screening and COVID-19 vaccine screening, those were due November 5th, this last Friday. This should not prevent you, if you have not done it yet, this shouldn't prevent you from still proceeding and doing so and completing this screening information. But you will need to log in to My Student Chart. So Grace is putting those links in the chat on where to go. You do need your PID. Again, you need your single sign-on information to access My Student Chart, where you can follow the instructions and upload the information that is needed. The flu vaccine screening, that is not due until November 19th, so you do have a little bit of time. And any other vaccinations, particularly the Tdap, MMR, varicella, meningococcal vaccines, those are not due until February 1st. So you have a little bit of more time with those. The International Students and Programs Office is not able to answer specific questions about immunizations, proof of immunizations. Expert staff who work in this area are in the Student Health Center, and we encourage you, if you have those questions, to go to My Student Chart, then go to Messages, and then go to Ask a Nurse. This will allow you to direct message a nurse within Student Health to find out certain information, or if you're having trouble uploading or obtaining proof of these vaccinations or screenings, they can help with those questions. Okay, so hopefully you're able to meet these requirements. If you were unable to meet the TB or COVID-19 vaccination screening requirement and upload those by last Friday, a hold will have been placed on your student account, which will prevent you from enrolling in classes this week. So if that is the case, please contact Student Health as soon as possible if you did get those in the end, so they can lift that hold. If you're having difficulties getting those in, please contact them so they can work with you to lift those holds. We want to make sure our students don't have restrictions in registering for their classes. All right, so housing. Housing is, of course, a huge piece of your experience here. We want to make sure students are prepared with information and know how to navigate this when they get to UC San Diego. So some of you who may have been here before or to California before might know that housing is extremely competitive here, very much impacted here, even more so, I think, by the pandemic. So housing can be a challenge to find. We want to make sure our students are aware of this, not to scare you, but to prepare you so that you have options available when you arrive to San Diego. You have the next couple of months to look at all of your options. So we're going to go over some of those options here. The first most popular option among our education abroad students is coming to live on campus at International House. Some of you may have already heard about this. So iHouse, as we call it, is a unique and engaging living learning community that brings together international students, US students, and scholars from around the world. So this community fosters a diversity of thought and experience where students can learn, develop their skills, and grow as global citizens. iHouse is within the Eleanor Roosevelt College at UC San Diego is where they're based. Newly admitted incoming EAPR students, such as yourselves, can apply to live at iHouse. And actually that application opens today. So that link is provided to go ahead and apply. Applications are due November 18th. Students will be emailed with further instructions if they have received a place, including the process for signing the contract and making a housing prepayment. I do want to stress that iHouse placement is not guaranteed. We are not able to offer guaranteed housing for our EAP exchange students. So I just want to stress that this is competitive. There is not, unfortunately, a place for everyone, but we encourage you to apply to see if you can secure a space on campus along with your other options. And one of those options might be another place on campus, not necessarily iHouse. So winter quarter housing, there is a wait list that you will need to join if you are interested in living on campus. That wait list application will be available this week at this address, hdhughhousing.ucsd.edu. Waitlist students will be housed wherever there's available space on campus at any of our undergraduate housing communities. So you won't necessarily be in a certain college where you're taking most of your classes. It could be anywhere on campus that you are assigned, but these are all wonderful living communities on campus that offer a variety of different programs to get engaged with the campus. So, but just do know that it doesn't necessarily mean you will be housed in one specific college. Again, same as iHouse, submitting a waitlist application for on-campus housing doesn't guarantee you a space on campus. So we do recommend having a backup plan and looking into off-campus housing options as well. If you do have questions, contact housing. Their information is housinginfo@ucsd.edu. You can give them a call as well if you have any questions about the waitlist process or any of those pieces. But again, that application should open this week, so you can go ahead and start making plans if you do want to live on campus to apply. All right, so off-campus housing resources. We do want to make you aware that there is an office on campus called offcampushousing.ucsd.edu that can provide students assistance in looking for off-campus housing. You can see here there's a search function. You can sign up to get access to that portal to look for housing around the university area. I also want to stress what's really great in opening up in actually just a couple of weeks. We have a new transportation system, a new trolley line that is opening, that is connecting UC San Diego main campus with downtown San Diego and many other neighborhoods along that route. So this is really exciting because it offers up more housing options for our students. Before this trolley line opened, students, of course, want to be close to campus or within walking distance, and that would limit them to the immediate La Jolla area around the campus. But with this new trolley line opening up on the 21st of this month, that makes it a lot easier to access different living communities in the San Diego area, and then just be able to get on that trolley and come straight into campus. So we're very, very excited about that, that it will be open to all of you when you get here as well. And that is just around the corner. I also want to draw your attention to our housing resources page. So this is on the International Students and Programs Office website, students.ucsd.edu. Go to advising and housing. This page was significantly revamped in the fall quarter and has a huge amount of resources for looking for off-campus housing, short-term, long-term, temporary housing, those sorts of different options available to students depending on your situation. It also provides some really good guides on what to ask when you're looking to rent. There are so many different terms and phrases used sometimes in housing and looking for housing in the United States that it can be unfamiliar for students. So we go over all of that information there. Also what to look out for in a housing contract, how to protect yourself from scams. Unfortunately, those do happen, especially at the beginning of a new term when people know students are looking for housing. So we offer those guides, those services. And again, just do want to highlight, be aware of housing scams. On our website, isafety.ucsd.edu, our webpage there, we aim to familiarize you with your rights and responsibilities, but also just be aware of things that might not seem right? If a landlord is asking for rent for the entirety of your stay here, right, whether it's 3 months or 6 months in advance, that's not really a normal thing to ask for, right? We don't want people losing money, searching for housing. So be critical, ask questions. If you're looking for a contract that maybe just doesn't feel right to you or sit right with you, ask those questions, and know that UCSD also has free student legal services on campus. So if there's a contract that you're interested in and maybe you're not sure if it's a legal contract, they can review housing contracts for free at Student Legal Services, and you can contact them at sls.ucsd.edu if you have any doubts or questions. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to my colleague Grace, who is going to go over our different programs and how to get engaged once you're here at UC San Diego.
Thanks so much, Gabby. Yes, I'm so excited to cover all the different opportunities that you have to be engaged during your time here. The first thing I want to highlight is actually our programs. So we refer to these kind of as our signature programs here at ISPO. And we have a number of programs that I'll cover briefly now. So for example, English in Action. English in Action is our conversation program. So maybe you want to practice your English conversation and pronunciation skills during your time at UC San Diego. You would get matched with a native English speaker to meet weekly throughout your time here in order to be able to practice those skills. Intercultural Social Hour is a monthly social where we want to create the opportunity for you to not only meet other international students, but domestic American students as well. ISPO Chats is our monthly office hour with ISPO leadership so that we can hear more about international student concerns on our campus and advocate for our campus community. The International Peer Coaching Program is a peer coaching service that's designated to our first year students. And I'll go into more detail in a little bit about some of the meetups that they'll be hosting in winter quarter. iTable is our basic needs program dedicated to primarily food security for our students. Let's Talk is a mental health and wellness program. We partner with a psychologist from Counseling and Psychological Services, Dr. Rena Scholl, who is our ISPO CAPS liaison. Triton Trekkers is another collaboration, but this time with outdoor recreation, where we plan trips to explore the San Diego area. So maybe on your San Diego bucket list is to kayak the Cove, La Jolla Cove. Maybe it's to go snorkeling, learn how to surf, go hiking. So Triton Trekkers are a whole bunch of different trips that will lead throughout the quarter for you to be able to explore San Diego. And I just really briefly mentioned all of them here, but if you go to iprograms.ucsd.edu, you can learn more not only about the programs themselves, but also how to sign up for these programs. Awesome. And so our iEvents calendar is a really great resource in terms of it's a live calendar that's continually being populated with different events for our international students. So as you can see, we have like a lot of great events in the works right now. And something that I'd like to call your attention to is that there's actually these different tags. So you might be able to see that there is this, I believe there's a red tag called free food provided. And what college student doesn't love free food? There's also tags that denote if it's an in-person event or a virtual event. I know that a lot of our students are really excited to finally be able to come back in person, meet new people, make those friendships. So if you just wanted to click on the in-person tag and just see what all of the events are happening in person, that's a great way to do so. So it's this really cool live interactive calendar. I know that a lot of students, well, a handful of students have actually told me that they have actually bookmarked ievents.ucsd.edu. And whenever they're bored and wondering like what's happening on campus, they'll just pop on and see what's happening. So this is something that, again, there's like events that are continually being added, not only by offices on campus, but also a lot of our student orgs on campus. So it's a great way to just meet new people and start to build your community here. Wonderful. And I would be remiss if I did not highlight our International Student Orientation for you, our Winter 2022 EAP students. So a friendly save the date. On Wednesday, January 5th, we will be having an orientation at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. More info will be at iorientation.ucsd.edu, but I definitely wanted to share that save the date now so that we're going to go over a lot of really helpful information that will be really pertinent to your time here. So please go ahead and mark your calendars. Okay, so a lot of logistical information and really important information will be covered at orientation on January 5th at 5 p.m. But then we've also organized a bunch of social events because we believe that, yes, we want you to learn and have important information during your time here, but we also want you to be able to connect, to engage, and build your global community. So you can see that basically for the first month here at UC San Diego, we've organized a different social event specifically for you every week. So during week one, actually right following our orientation, we'll be having a meetup for our EAP Winter 22 students. So if you're curious, like who else is in this program right now? Who else is studying abroad at UC San Diego with me? This will be your chance to be able to meet those students and be able to kind of see who else is here and hopefully make some connections for the rest of your time here. Week two, the International Peer Coaches are hosting a co-college meetup for first year and rising second years. So this will be not only EAP students, but other first year students here. You all have been assigned to a college as a part of the UC San Diego college system. And colleges are a different way that we kind of break up our student community to be able to meet like in smaller groups. So it's a great way to meet other students in your college, to be able to make those connections. So you can kind of see week one, we start in the smallest, most concentric circle. And then each week we're gonna kind of like broaden the pool a little by little. So week two will be slightly larger where not only EAP students are invited, but others of our students, so perhaps our F1 students. Then week three, we have intercultural social hour. And intercultural social hour is actually opened up to all students, so not just first year, but second, third, fourth, grad students, etc. And honestly, it's just a really laid back, chill event where you get to just meet people in a relaxed environment. We have food, we have games, we meet in the eucalyptus grove right behind our office. And it's a great way to exactly just like touch base with folks, get to know one another and just hang out. And then week 4, we have our monthly ISPO coffee hour. So on a monthly basis, we open up our backyard, as we like to call it, and we have free coffee, we have free pastries. And again, this is a chance to not only meet other students at UC San Diego, but also to meet your ISPO staff members as well. So some students will come and get an advising question answered and be able to meet a new student by playing Giant Jenga, or one of the many games we have. So all of the events will actually be put on our iEvents calendar. So again, another plug to really bookmark that tab. And so yeah, come January, come winter, all of these events will be on our iEvents calendar and more.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that information. So as we close up here today, I wanted to go over just a few additional resources that might be helpful for you as you're planning your studies here this winter. The first site I want to just draw your attention to on our website, obviously we are still in the midst of a pandemic. Although rates are significantly down, especially in the San Diego area, which we are happy about, and very, very low on campus. We know that things are changing constantly. We know that situations look different everywhere around the world. So we have designed specifically a coronavirus FAQs website just for international students, just for them to learn how it impacts, for example, travel or vaccination requirements and that sort of thing. So we encourage you to go to iupdates.ucsd.edu where this information is housed. It talks about different frequently asked questions about enrollment or your immigration documents, visas, travel. And it is updated quite frequently. So definitely bookmark this when you can. The other really important website for all of you to bookmark and pay attention to is the Return to Learn website and dashboard. So Return to Learn, this is UC San Diego's official website where you can find information about the campus efforts to get us back to in-person teaching, which we primarily are for the fall and is planned so far for the winter, and finding ways and expressing to the campus the safest ways possible to do this. This is a wonderful resource to share with your family members as well. It covers everything from vaccine information to daily symptom screening requirements and instructional plans. There's also a dashboard for those of you who are interested. It is updated regularly with the current COVID infection rates on campus and in the community so that you can monitor that. Again, we are extremely lucky because of very strict but reasonable protocols. Our transmission rates, our COVID rates are very, very low on campus, which is wonderful. And it's been a very successful return to campus this fall, which we're thrilled about. But that is all information you can find out here, which is returntolearn.ucsd.edu. And a few other resources and links. Some of these we covered, but I just want to have them here for you. The new student website at UC San Diego on our ISPO site, the iNew student that I referred to with those checklist items and how to request your documents, to how to go to your visa appointment, what links to follow, how to pay your CVIS fee. All of that is at inewstudent.ucsd.edu. The Return to Learn site I just mentioned. The itravel.ucsd.edu page is a great resource for our students because it lists current rules and regulations regarding international travel, what documents to bring with you, what things you should have in your carry-on luggage, for example, when you get to the airport. It's a great page to go over those pieces of information so you know exactly what to bring with you when you're ready to come to the United States. Some government sites here, the travel.state.gov. That is the US State Department's official website. And this is where updates to any kind of travel restrictions would be posted. This is where the recent November 8th, today, announcement was placed regarding vaccine requirements for international travelers to come to the United States. So all of those details are listed on the travel.state.gov site. The US Embassy.gov site. This will also give more local information. Study in the States. This is the official site for our F1 and J1 programs that specifically discuss impacts to travel or to various different non-immigrant topics for our F1 and J1 students. CBP, so that's Customs and Border Protection. Those are the officials who greet you at the airport when you come to the United States. That is their official site and provide information and details about international travel and what international travelers can expect when they come to the United States. Kayak.com. So this is a site we've added during the pandemic because it was a really useful tool to quickly see where certain travel restrictions exist. Thankfully, those travel restrictions, those geographic travel restrictions that existed for so long during the pandemic come to an end today for the United States at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So all international travelers who come to the US do need to show proof of vaccination before they board that flight to the US, but there are no more geographical blanket travel bans, which is wonderful news. So we encourage you to take a look at these sites, make sure you have everything to hand, everything that you need to board that flight to come in January. All right, and finally, some important deadlines and reminders. All of these things you can be doing now, which is one, requesting your visa documents. Hopefully you've all done that, but there is still time. Please go ahead and do that at iportal.ucsd.edu. Now you can apply for on-campus housing. An application opens today for iHouse, and the winter housing on-campus general waitlist opens this week. It should actually be today as well, but if not today, certainly this week. There is the iTriton online training, which all of you should have received information about in your email. This is not due until January 1st. This is ISPO's online training. It is preparation for orientation and it is required. So make sure that you are completing that training on Canvas. Again, the link was sent to you and Grace has put links to that information on in chat as well. Completing your health screening, your immunizations, some of those deadlines have passed, but if you have not met them, please just go ahead and proceed with completing those as soon as possible. And then our new international student orientation, as Grace mentioned, is coming up on January 5th. So more information will be sent. And I do want to let you all know that ISPO does stay in constant communication with its students. We like to be connected with you and encourage you to ask us questions. We will continue to send newsletters throughout the rest of the remainder of this year so that you are prepared and have information. But we encourage you to contact us if you have any questions at inewstudent@ucsd.edu, the iNews student page at ucsd.edu. Follow us on social media. We have lots of different activities there, interactions. There are different giveaways that we've done in the past and the lead up to orientation, so definitely follow us there as well. And just stay in touch. We'd love to be in touch with our students and welcome any questions that you might have. So with that, that ends our presentation for today, but I do want to leave it open to questions. We have about 10 minutes. If anyone has any questions, feel free to go ahead to the Q&A box and we can go ahead and take those. And while we're waiting for some of those ones to come in, I just wanted to review some of the questions that came in through during the presentation, because they're really great ones that I think all of our students would benefit from. Someone asked, is the I-901 fee the same as the CBUS fee? Yes, those terms are used interchangeably. That is the fee that you have to pay at fmjfee.com. That is different from your visa appointment fee. A really good question that came through too. When I received my Form DS 2019, do I have to sign it? Are there any other fields that I have to fill out on the form? Yes, please sign the bottom of page 1 of your DS 2019. That is certification that you need to attest to. It's the Exchange Visitor Certification section, but there are not any other fields. It's just the signature that you need to be sure you have. And just to note as well, all DS 2019s that we send to our students have an advisor signature on the front. And they also have what is called a travel signature. That is basically an attestation confirming that you are a student at UC San Diego and that you are in good standing. This is a signature when you travel internationally and want to come into the United States. You always need to have a valid travel signature. That travel signature is good for 1 year or for the duration of your program, whichever is shorter. So if you're here for the winter quarter, that travel signature will be valid till the end of your DS 2019 expiration date. You do not have to have it renewed every time you travel internationally. It is not needed for domestic travel, but if you are, normally this is for our degree-seeking students. If it's going to expire, you would need to renew it. But typically for our EAP students, you do not need to, and you automatically have one. Another great question, is there a minimum, of in-person courses that we have to enroll? Yes. So this was a question that came up during the pandemic. Obviously, a lot of schools switched to completely online instruction or hybrid instruction. UCSD still does have some purely online classes as well as hybrid classes. It's not 100% in person, but our international students do have to enroll in at least one in-person or hybrid class. So that is a great question. So if you're enrolling, let's say in 12 units, one of your classes, which is typically about 4 units or so, that would have to be at least one in-person or hybrid component. They couldn't be 100% online. There's another great question that's come through. What is the difference between appointment times and the pass times when it comes to enrollment? We get 2 different times to enroll, or we just enroll once. So it is a little bit confusing because you have your actual first pass, second pass, which is open to all students. Like those are the time frames in which you can go in and add classes. But then yes, you also have your student specific enrollment times. So what we would recommend is you should only at the beginning be enrolling at your specific enrollment time. So for example, let's say during your first pass, it is on November 11th at 10 a.m. Be sure you are enrolling in that first session at 10 a.m. on the 11th. Don't bypass that time. After that point, you should still be able to enroll in classes beyond that specific enrollment time up until the end of first pass. Then it closes. You can only enroll up to an 11.5 units, as we talked about. Once your second pass comes around, I think it's on the 17th, you can enroll again. Again, pay attention to your specific enrollment time. If you have one assigned for the second pass, go in during that time. And again, you can continue to add or adjust classes through the end of that second pass at any time after that. But pay attention to those initial assigned times so that you don't miss the opportunity to enroll. Good question that's come in about housing. That was already answered, but I want to make sure others can benefit from the answer too. So do we have to apply to the winter quarter housing waitlist on our own, or are we automatically added to the UCSD waitlist after applying to iHouse? You do have to apply for those separately. iHouse is has its own application system, as does the waitlist for general on-campus undergraduate housing. So yes, do apply separately, and you do have to do that on your own. Yes, in addition to the recording, we'll be getting an email with all the links. So all of the links in this recording, that will be part of the recording that we post. So you should be able to access all of these links once it is recorded and posted. We will let our students know once that recording is available on iwebinars.ucsd.edu. And another question that was answered, but I want to just make sure everyone is seen. Will you be able to register for classes if needed prerequisites are not confirmed before? Typically not. If the class has prerequisites that are not, it's not confirmed that you've met those yet, you would not be able to just go ahead and enroll for that class. You'd have to submit the easy request form that we talked about earlier in order to get authorization first. Any other questions at all? These are some really, really good questions. The question about enrollment again. So do you have to enroll twice? If you have more than 11.5 credits on the first time, you shouldn't be able, the system actually shouldn't let you go above 11.5 credits on the first time. But you know, if you've chosen all the classes that you're able to choose on that first pass, you don't need to or can't enroll in anything else until your second pass. So no, you don't. If you're given 2 enrollment times for first pass, if you've gotten all the classes you want for that first pass, you're happy with those choices, then you don't need to enroll again for that second time. You just wait till your second pass when you're able to enroll in more units. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, any others? Any access issues with my student chart? I know this is every year. This can be tricky for students depending on location, depending on when you're able to set up your PID, retrieve that information. If you're having difficulty accessing my student chart, for anyone, do email student.health@ucsd.edu. They can assist you with hopefully opening up that account for you or troubleshooting those tech issues. The question is about where can I find the average UCSD housing cost? So actually on our website, and I might ask Grace to plug in that link. So on our website, we do have a list of estimated costs of attendance at UC San Diego. Now that does include enrollment, but also it separates out average housing costs. And it does sort of do the average of on versus off-campus housing in that figure. So we do bump up those fees a little bit for international students because we want them to have a realistic view of what housing does cost. You can break down those fees by month. So if you take a look at the chart that Grace just put in the chat, you can see a breakdown of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. That's a 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter year. And you can kind of get an idea. Those figures you can divide even further by month. You can see kind of what the average is. When we talk about housing costs, again, those are rounded up, and they also do include other incidentals related to housing. And you can see it is pricey to be in La Jolla. We do want to make sure our students are aware of this. So make sure you're taking a look at those charts. They are updated every year, so you have an idea of what to expect with housing costs. Also a question, is iHouse acceptance valid for only 1 quarter or the entire exchange program? So if you are accepted into iHouse, you're applying for your duration of your program. So that would be valid for the entirety of your program here. If you decided to move out, if you wanted to change to a different housing location after 1 quarter, you would have to cancel that contract. But if you are interested in staying there the whole term, they make accommodations for the entirety of your term here. All right, looks like we've got 1 more minute. Any final questions? All right. Well, we appreciate all of your questions today and your participation and being here today. We hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, again, our contact information is up on screen. Please do reach out to us. We definitely love hearing your feedback and ways we can improve the experience for all of you. But we really look forward to welcoming you this winter, and we will be in touch over the next few weeks as well to help you prepare. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your evening or day wherever you are.